Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. Can I get some quick introductions?
Sure, I'm Alexander Philippe. I'm the director of The People versus George Lucas.
I'm Robert Muratori. I'm one of the producers and the director of photography.
Okay, I guess my first question is just how big of a Star Wars fan are you guys?
Well, obviously we're Star Wars fans. There's no doubt about it. It's obviously something that we had to live with very intensely for 3 years. It would have been hard if we didn't at least care a little bit, about the topic. But regardless, I think it's a really important and interesting story to tell, and we went to great lengths to tell it.
Yeah, we've been, we saw the movies when we were kids in the theater, so that's it's definitely something that people of our generation look back on as milestones, especially if they're in this business. Filmmakers, a lot of filmmakers we've talked to were obviously greatly influenced by Lucas and the Star Wars trilogy and some of the other movies he was involved with, Raiders.
Okay, why the People versus George Lucas?
Well, in popular culture, there's a very unique dynamic between George Lucas and his fans, and it used to be this sort of beautiful, perfect love story back in the 70s and even early 80s. George Lucas literally could do no wrong. He then eventually followed up with Indiana Jones, and in recent years, of course, the feelings have been very, very different. I think the fans, certainly the original fan base, turned against George in really interesting ways. It's really hard to go on the internet nowadays and not find the sort of profound frustration and hate that the fans seem to have, towards George. So that was essentially the seed for the idea that, how did this go wrong? How can we take a look from a cultural perspective at this dysfunctional relationship, this conflicted, dynamic between George Lucas and his fans over the past 3 decades.
What has caused this dysfunctional relationship?
Well, it's a number of things, and that's why ultimately we decided to make a feature out of this. The film is right now at 92 minutes long, but in a nutshell, obviously the special editions, I think was pretty much the beginning, and it's not just the fact that George Lucas, decided to make changes to the films. I mean, every director seems to do this nowadays. But it is George's subsequent refusal to properly restore and release the films as they were shown theatrically back in the day. So we're talking about issues of cultural heritage, very much. And then, of course, the release of the new films of the prequel trilogy, I think really alienated a lot of the fan base of the original fan base. So it's really there's a number of events really that happened along the way, and he's also a different filmmaker now. And for some reason, because we care so much about those films, again, the impact that those films had when we were kids was really, really profound. And it's as a fan, it's hard to see that change in a filmmaker. You always expect the very best, and it's interesting also to look at it from the perspective of the fans, because I think the fans go too far. Yes, George may have done a number of things to alienate the fans, but I think the fans have also behaved in ways that would certainly probably alienate George Lucas as well.
Do you consider yourself among the alienated fans?
Oh, I go back and forth. I of course don't believe that George owes me anything. I think he's done enough. I think he's done so many wonderful things. But I have, of course, I'm quite frustrated, with a number of things he's done. I'm mostly frustrated about the fact that he has been very vocal about the fact that he's just waiting for all the old copies of the original Star Wars to deteriorate, so that one day we'll be left with only one version, and that's the special edition. And I don't think as a film buff, forget being a Star Wars fan, as a film buff, I'm not I'm not okay with that. What about you, Robert?
Well, I mean, yeah, I certainly feel the conflicted emotions and have a love-hate relationship with Lucas and feel very passionately about the things I love and remember about the original trilogy, and the things I'm really frustrated with concerning the changes to the original trilogy and the prequels, and maybe even some of the TV, that's happening as well. So yeah, I have strong feelings.
Well, I think the question really is Star Wars, just a movie, or is it more than just a movie? And I think it's been. I think you can certainly look at the impact that it's had on culture, and make a very strong argument for the fact that it has transcended its maker. It has transcended, just this notion that it's just a film, that it's become a true, pop culture phenomenon, that it's ingrained now. It's part of our DNA. It's part of who we are, and therefore, I think you can say, yeah, it also belongs to us now. And so this tug of war, really, between the creator and the fans, is truly fascinating. And as I like to say, I'm very much a fanboy, but I'm first and foremost a documentary filmmaker. You know what I mean? And so I didn't want to make this film as a fanboy or from the perspective of a fanboy. I wanted to really look at this from the point of view of of culture.
Okay, when's the next screening happening?
The screening is tonight at 11:45 p.m. So, better get to the theater.
Thanks for your time, guys.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.